rabbis of yesteryear. Now, on the 22nd of Sivan, Chabet Sivan, marks the Hilula of a famous Kabbalist, a great rabbi, one hidden tzaddikim of Jerusalem. His name was Rabbi Yonatan Betzalel Z'tl Tzaddik Lebracha. Now, he actually came from Mashadi descent from Iran, respectively. His family actually was. He himself was born in Jerusalem, the capital city of Israel, but he came from a family with a great amount of Persian heritage in of itself. Now, it's actually interesting. Before he was born, I believe his parents didn't have any children, and they were told that they would have to leave Iran and move to, I think, possibly Eretz Israel, or move abroad, and they would move to Eretz Israel, and they would have a daughter, and then the great Chacham, Rabbi Yonatan Betzalel, would be born. And I think it was tough times from a financial point of view for pretty much everyone in Jerusalem or in Israel at that stage in time. He was born in the Hebrew month of Nisan in the year 1934 it was. So we're talking about just over 90 years ago here from time of recording. Here in 2025, he was a great rabbi. And Rabbi, maybe we've mentioned before, we've spoken about various other great Mashadi rabbis in the series, especially most notably the famous Rabbi Eichler, who was a great rabbi during the 1800s, which we've mentioned about on various occasions before inside this series, which is very, very interesting to know. Let's explore a few of the highlights of the great rabbi's life. So, being born in 1934 in Jerusalem, he would learn, I believe, initially in a Ashkenazic school, a Talmud Torah, a Torah education network, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was connected to the Hasidic branch, but I'm not too sure about that. At that stage in time, 14 years before the state of Israel, when he was born, there weren't as many choices, vast choices, as it is now in modern day. So he would actually learn there. And then later on, he would go on to study in the famous Bnei Zion Talmud Torah. Now, it's a famous Talmud Torah, because if you look at the caliber of the students over there, it's absolutely phenomenal. Like currently, in those days when he was there, there was likes of Rabbi Ben Zion Abba Shaul, who he himself would go on to become a Rosh Yeshiva Parat himself. He was among the students there. Rabbi Naim Ben Eliyahu was another Talmid there, who was also a Rosh Yeshiva of his time, and the Rabbi of the Bukharian neighborhood. Rabbi Obadiah Yosef, the chief Rabbi of Israel, 1973 to 1983, he studied in that same yeshiva. Talmud Torah. Rabbi Yehuda Moalim, another great Rabbi Ram of the Yeshivat Paratis, of Rabbi David Sadka, who was part of Matzot. He was had various different important roles, let's just say, within regards to stuff all throughout the country. I think he was the son of Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka. Also, most simply, Rabbi Yehuda Tzadka learned there. He was a Rosh Yeshiva Paratis. Of Rabbi Yosef Shraga, another great rabbi who was, let's just say, another prominent rabbi, a Rav of a synagogue of the Yazdim, another Persian rabbi over there. So most notably, which is important that we mention him, because he very much was a great rabbi, and he still is a great rabbi. He was born in the year 1947, Rabbi Yosef Shraga, and nowadays Rabbi Yosef Shraga is a Rosh Kollel, I believe. He's head of the Beit Knesset synagogue of the Yazdi community, respectively, and is currently, I believe, about 78 years of age. He was born in Iran himself. So he was another student in the Bnei Zion Talmud Torah network. Eliyahu Shrim, another great rabbi. Rabbi Shalom Cohen, who was the spiritual leader of the Shas political party. Rav Moshe Tzadka, the current Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshivat Parat Yosef. Rabbi Shimon Elitov, another great rabbi who is part of a large matzot. He was learning in the same places with him. I think he's one of the Chabad rabbis also of Jerusalem. And also most notably, Rabbi Yaakov Yosef, the son of Cham Obadiah Yosef. He was a Rosh Yeshiva of Chazon Yaakov, respectively. So this was the caliber of rabbis he was learning with in Bnei Zion Talmud Torah in its golden day. Obviously now the Bnei Zion institutions has also really great rabbis nowadays, including Rabbi Samir Cohen, the head of Hidabrut, Rabbi Eliyahu Abba Shaul learned there in recent years, Rabbi Shlomo Swissa, most notably Rabbi Shlomo Tzur, really great rabbis. Now, it's actually interesting. One of the founders or the expanders of this yeshiva was the son, I believe, of Rabbi Yaakov Mutzafi, Rabbi Ben Zion Mutzafi. Now, we're going to see, I'm going to explore over inside this video how it's going to happen actually at a later stage, that there will be he'll become the shamash of Rabbi Yaakov Mutzafi, who was a very famous rabbi of Jerusalem, respectively, and Rabbi was spoken about on various occasions before. Also, this Bnei Tzion institutions was connected very much with Rabbi Salmon Mutzafi within regards to Foundry. Now, later on, he's going to become a cobbler in Jerusalem, a man that also is working in for Parnassa, but is learning pretty much every extra moment also at a very, very high level. And his brilliance became apparent. Many people will come to him asking for blessings within regards to all different aspects of life. For example, once I heard there was various different people that had amazing stories within regards to him. There was once, I think, a wealthy man that couldn't have children for many years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It became as many as, I think, 20 years where he didn't have children. Came to the great rabbi for a bracha, and he said, "You're going to have boys." So he was astounded. Boys? This is in the plural, it's not in the singular. So what's interesting is they would have, I think, at a short period afterwards, twin boys. It's reported over, and that's just a brilliance within regards to the rabbi. Now, another interesting thing that we have to point about him, he had this chachmat of the partsuf, where you could see the person's face and could see the, let's just say, the inner qualities of the person and deep qualities of the person. He was able to have the wisdom, seeing the face, and if he was given a name of different people, he could relate to who the people specifically were, respectively. It was reported that we had the Chachmot Partsuf, which we have to state over. Many people come to him, as we said before, for blessings. I think he had connections with some of the rabbis, even in Mea Shearim, some of the Hasidim, that would come to him asking for blessings, possibly also from the Satzma community. So he was respected by all different Jewish people. He would have a bookshop, I believe, in the Musayev complex of the synagogues. Remember, we visited the Musayev complex. It's inside the Bukhari neighborhood in Jerusalem, respectively. I believe he would have also a shop over there. I think a bookshop. In fact, I think a book will be published, I think, connected very much to him. I think it was under his uncle's name, if I'm not mistaken, called the Sharei Tefillah. Very interesting enough. Also, he was known as one of the tzaddikim of Jerusalem, one of the hidden tzaddikim. Also, he had closeness. People would come to him not just for blessings, they would open up to him, people that were in various different problems they were suffering inside their lives. It could be business issues or emotional issues. They would open up to him, and the empathy he had was absolutely phenomenal. His place was open on Shabbat. People come to him asking him for blessings, asking for tefillot, for him to, and he would be able to support people at different times for various different, let's just say, important different happenings, respectively, over there, which is spoken about also inside the thing. He would be very much learning pretty much the whole time. He was connected very much to the Musayev synagogue in the neighborhood, and would study there, I think, for many, many hours, especially after he was closing, let's just say, his store. He would go out to study and learn Torah. Now, I believe he had 14 children, is reported over. Naturally, we said he was born in Jerusalem in the year 1934. He would have 14 children. I think many of the descendants are Talmidei Chachamim. Actually, I'm a good friend of his grandson, who was able to report over, and many people wrote different writings about him and commented. Many great rabbis would comment about his brilliance and let's just say the Ruach Kodesh he had also, and the spiritual level, the great Chacham was on. The more stories we can actually relate within regards to him. Let's just state over. There's actually some articles we could see in various other places. It's actually reported over that he would go and do various different tefillot, I think by the mikveh of the Arizal with Rabbi Yitzchak Kadori. He was a shamash and very close, I believe, and learning with Rabbi Yitzchak Kadori. Remember, Rabbi Yitzchak Kadori passed away about 20 years ago. He was one of the famous Kabbalists of Jerusalem, and he himself was also a great Kabbalist. He was into the mystical traditions, let's just say, in Jerusalem, and he had spiritual gifts. We talked about the Chachmot Partsuf, the wisdom of the face, let's just say, that he could see, just by seeing the face, the inner person's state through their facial features, and he was able to attune to the emotional and spiritual conditions of those people that are around him. Many, as we stated before, many people will come to him, and the empathy he had was absolutely phenomenal. It was, and he was he would be able to speak to and relate to every person, and he was a man of truth without a doubt, which we have to point out. Also, various different other incidents happen in his life where people come to him for blessings, which actually written about in various different articles, which I recommend everyone to actually look into. His transmission, his wisdom was absolutely phenomenal. His main rabbi was Rabbi Yaakov Mutsafi. I think he was actually the shamash of Rabbi Yaakov Mutsafi. Remember, Rabbi Yaakov Mutsafi was the son of Rav Salman Mutsafi, who was actually one of the founders of the Bnei Tzion schools. And Rav Ben Tzion Mutsafi is currently, I think, living in Sanhedria, is arguably one of the biggest Sephardi rabbis in the world, and I believe the head of the Bnei Tzion institutions, which he very much was part of at that stage in time when he was younger, when he was inside the school. I think he would be very close with another famous rabbi, Rabbi Shmuel Darzi. I think very much connected to the Yeshivat Ne'ot Barama. I think it's actually based in Rehov Rashi, in the street of Rashi Street, respectively. So he had many, many connections. He was close to Rabbi Yitzchak Kadori. He was close to Rabbi Yaakov Mutsafi. He was a great rabbi of his time, known as one of the hidden tzaddikim of Jerusalem. He was connected to the Lamed Vav tzaddikim, I believe. Also the 36 righteous tzaddikim. We've mentioned about some of them inside this series already, which I recommend everyone to actually look back on. And one of the famous cobblers of his time. I can't remember, he passed away on the 22nd of Sivan. I think it was under 20 years ago he passed away. I can't remember the exact year. I'd have to double check on that. But he was one of the famous rabbis, famous Persian descent rabbis, without a doubt, of his time. And I recommend everyone to actually explore more with regards to the history of the Persian community. I'll try and at one stage, hopefully, to do chronicle over and put about a video with regards to history of the Mashhadi Jewish community and the rich history within regards to that also. So, but please, everyone, don't forget to light candles in memory here on the 22nd of Sivan. I think he's got family members in places, even including in New York, in London. He's got much family in Israel, especially in Jerusalem, Yerushalayim also, and was very highly respected from many of the great rabbis, many of the great Sephardi Rabbanim and Ashkenazi Rabbanim and Hasidic Rabbanim, and many people still speak on the highest terms with regards to him in modern day, in current day also, which we have to point out. So don't forget to light candles in memory, known as a hidden cobbler of Jerusalem. I remember Mosiah had bookstores over there. He was very much part of it. If you actually go inside the neighborhood, you can see, and they put like some of the most phenomenal books, Jewish books, out there, which some of them might be rare to find, but it's I'd recommend everyone to actually visit the complex itself. And he very much was one of the great rabbis of that neighborhood of his time. Now, friends, we're community here. We're learning about the famous rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the great rabbis we're speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information. If you feel anyone's interested in watching any of these videos, share these videos to other people. Also, we're a community over here, and we're nearly on 7,000 subscribers, so please subscribe to the channel now. We're an online encyclopedia learning about the famous rabbis of yesteryear, and we've already covered in this series about 15-20 rabbis of Persian descent. So Rabbi Yonatan Betzalel, famous Kabbalist, great rabbi from Iran. Everyone learn more about him. I'm wishing you all a safe and good night. Thank you very much, and be well.